We're going to move from this room into a video conference. Charlotte Gretter, who will also speak about MarTech and how to unlock the power of advanced frameworks for real impact, is joining us. I don't know from where, I think it's from London or from somewhere, but however, she will be here over VC. So while this is being set up, we already can see you, Charlotte, that's good.
Très bien. Bonjour à tous et merci de m'avoir pour ces quelques minutes. I'll switch to English. So hi, my name is Charlotte. I've been working with marketing the last 15 years, specialized in digital marketing, marketing technology, and AI marketing, both working on the media side, on the advertiser side, but also on the agency side. So in these years, I have been working with many companies that have been utilizing many different technologies for marketing. And in this 10 minutes, I want to give you some tips on how you can look at building your marketing technology framework. So if you move to the next slide, please. I just want to set a bit of the context because nothing has really changed over the last 5-10 years, right? You still want to figure out how, as a brand, you stay relevant to your customer. How do you catch their attention in this increasingly fractured customer journey? But also how you can imagine marketing technology to serve your ambition in this journey. So over to the next slide. If you want to do personalization at scale, there are a certain number of elements that you need to have in place. And it all starts by understanding who your customers are, whether they are known or unknown. It's about gathering a lot of data around their profiles and making sure that this data is constantly enriched. You want to know the context of where to engage with them online, on which channel. And you want to make sure that you have enough insights when to engage with them. And finally, offer this right experience to them so that they still like your brands after many, many years. And all that needs to be done at such a speed with, of course, the rise of AI and automation, that it means you need to have a maximum of automation in place. So with that in mind, if you move to the next slide, that's where you start developing what we call a framework. And that framework is looking at the three elements I just mentioned now: the customer, the right person, the context, the right place and the right time, and then the content with the right experience. You can build three different layers. The first layer is always a data foundation, and I will go step by step to just explain what lays under data. Then comes on top AI and machine learning, and finally the activation piece. So if you move to the next slide, let's spend some time on the data layer. What do we have? What kind of technology do we have when we look at data in marketing? Obviously, there are CRM data. There's most probably a data management platform that you're using for your online activities. There is potentially an identity management solution. Eventually as well, for the companies that have a lot of money, they've invested into a CDP, customer data platform, that sits on top and collects all the data layers. You might also have enabled some connection with third-party data. That's really looking at the customer profile. Then when you move into the context, which means where to engage with your customer, that's when you start looking at contextual data, and that's extremely relevant. When you think of third-party cookies disappearance, there's a lot of industry data, industry insight that you may want to connect your technology with. Of course, there's everything that relates to your online marketing performance campaign data. And if you have sales happening off-site, meaning, in store, so physically in store, you will want to connect those data sets as well, so that eventually you will work with on-site, off-site connect. And then when we look at the content piece, and that's very much, basically the creative, what kind of visual are you going to show to the different profiles? You would want to work with content performance data, understanding which content is the most appropriate to which audience. You want to make sure that everything is tagged properly on your different online properties, that you're using a certain taxonomy, because that will be so useful when you will go into the activation piece. And then a data assets management platform where you will store your actual creatives. So if you move to the next slide, what happens then when we look into AI and machine learning is very much relating to algorithms. What can you put in place that's going to automate a lot and that is going to recommend you a lot? So whether it's customer scoring or segmentation platform, whether it's using predictive models, having a team of data scientists, of engineers working on those data, but also looking at the context in the sense that where do I invest my money, my marketing money, into which media? So that's where the media mix modeling is also present. How and how much do I invest into which channel? That's a marketing investment planning or experience planning as well. And then on the content side, that's where, the AI intelligence starts working and is able to tell you this creative works really well on this type of audience, on this type of channel, on this site. And that's where the recommendation is also key. So you have a couple of technologies that are offering this. And finally, if you go on to the activation platform, so that's next slide. That's where you use all the data, all the insights and recommendation that you have been working on the first and second layer to push into programmatic, display, social, search, video channels, or even your own earned website channel. So when everything is well connected and you have this data interoperability, meaning, all the data can be ingested and understood by the different platform because it is written in such a way that makes it easy for any platform to use that data. That's where all the magic happens, because then you can really follow your customer, whether he landed on a site, on your site, if he has been exposed to this or this visual from you, to this or this advertisement on this or this channel at that time. Then you really have the full circle and can understand what I'm going to propose to that customer next, what the next best visual I'm going to show him, or the next best offer I'm going to propose to him, or how am I going to connect that customer to my CRM and have a lead so that my team can then call that customer. All of this is then extremely well connected. It's so not easy. So many advertisers are struggling with that. I can tell you that the biggest advertisers in the world still haven't that perfect picture in place, but at least understanding which technology comes into place and at what time is definitely key. So, I can hear a bit of background, but I guess that's just fine. So then if we move to the next slide, the final slide where you have all the different buckets and all the different technologies visible, that's really a starting point for your marketing technology strategy, understanding in the company who is using what type of technology, how much of that technology is being used. I've seen so often big companies investing into technologies that are worth millions and only 5% of the employees are using it. Or I've seen many examples of companies that someone in the tech department knows the cousin of a friend that has this technology that's going to save them. That rarely works that way. If you want to invest into technology, make sure that they answer some of those buckets and that they are going to work well with the rest of your technology stack. And when all of this is in place, if you move to the next slide, that's where you start looking into processes internally, making sure that for all of these technologies, there is a certain process, there is an ownership of that. Someone is responsible for making sure that this is happening, that it's being pushed to the next person and up to the activation, that there are feedback loops, so that you can really learn from everything that you have activated and it's fed back into the data layer. So finally, if you go over to the next slide, there's one thing about having the right technology and the right processes in place, but you also need to make sure that you have the right people in your company to work with those technologies. And it's really important that you spend time internally understanding what kind of skill sets all the different employees that are working with marketing have. Whether you will require upskilling programs for some of them, whether you want to set targets that, for example, you want to get X amount of employees to be able to use this and this technology by H1 next year. All of this needs to be well thought through, and that's where also you work with partners that are, providing this technology and this professional services to make sure that your employees are skilled to use those platforms and utilize a lot of it, not just 5% of what you have paid for. And then on the other side, there is the AI part, and I'm a big fan, and I'm really pushing, championing internally that pieces of AI are put everywhere where possible. Look, the journey of AI has already started. If you haven't yet thought of using it in your company, it means you're already late in the industry. The more you put of AI into your different technology and strategy, the better you will, the more you will learn, and the more it will learn, and the more you will be able to get insights and get better at marketing activities simply. And then it also allow your people, your employee, to spend time on what really matters instead of sitting on a platform trying to look for a data set for hours and hours when AI can do it in just 1 minute. And it can also allow specific marketing FTEs to focus on strategy instead of, trading, for example. So with all this considered, we've now talked about technology, we've talked about platform capabilities and processes, and people in AI. So that would be my next slide and the last slide. I guess those are elements that you need to think of. Those are the pillars that are key for building a marketing technology framework and strategy. And I wish you all the best luck for the ones that have started on this journey. And if anything, please feel free to reach out. And good luck, and moving on to the next speaker.